All right, so we are one series in to the baseball season. Mets dropped 2 out of 3. Listen, they ran into 2 good pitchers. They ran into Valdez in opening day, who pitched beautifully, and then they got the one hitter thrown against them on Saturday. They had Sunday off, the weird Sunday off, but they're back at it tonight against the Marlins. And listen, I think that, the people that are worrying about the Mets and everything, it's don't worry about the Mets. Mets are going to be fine. They're 1-2. Okay, they lost a rubber game of a series 2-1. They got 1 hit. Siri looked good running the bases. The bullpen is doing, off to a historic start, 9 2/3 innings. They haven't given up a run yet. Everybody in the bullpen has pitched. Fantastic for the bullpen. They lost 2 out of 3. Soto's hitting. They're going to be fine. Stop with the jumping out of windows because the Mets lost a series down in Houston. That's the least of your worries. They could go to Miami now and they could get well. They got Peterson on the mound tonight. They got Senga pitching, and then it's back around. We'll see Clay Holmes again. See if he could kind of right the ship after not a great start on opening day. He didn't pitch very well, but he had an excellent spring. Listen, we'll let this thing go a couple weeks before you start panicking if you're a Mets fan. I am not panicking about it. They just lost 2 out of 3. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, the bullpen looks good. The Lindor's not hitting. We knew he wouldn't hit, right? I asked the radio announcer just the other day if he thought Lindor would hit over under 200 in the month of April, and he was way over. Well, he's hitting 0.77 after 3 games. And it looks more of the same of what we've seen with Lindor. And listen, this is what he does, right? He almost had an MVP season last year, and he started out, he was hitting in May, he was hitting 138. So, he will hit to the back of his baseball card. The Mets, I think, will be okay. The big talk in baseball everywhere, everybody wants to talk about the Torpedo bats and the New York Yankees. Now, listen, they came out and they just crushed the Brewers. Do I think the Torpedo bats had something to do with it? I do. Do I think the fact that 9 of the 13 pitchers on the Brewers staff are injured? Do I think that had something to do with it? I do. Do I think the Torpedo bats are cheating? No. Do I think they should be looked at by MLB? Absolutely. Listen, the Yankees, is it these bats are like, what are we doing here? I get it. It's legal. It's within the rule. It's a loophole within the rules. The Yankees have Volpe and all these guys now switching up their bats out of nowhere. If you know anything about baseball players, you know they're creatures of habit. They don't just switch things up on a whim. So to say that these bats aren't making a difference would be comical, because they are. They clearly are making a difference. The Yankees hit 15 home runs in a weekend. They hit 9 home runs in a single game. They've been playing baseball. The Yankees have been playing baseball for well over 100 years. They've never hit 9 home runs in a game. They did it this weekend. They hit 15. They tied the record for all-time home runs in a 3-day period this weekend, in the first weekend, and they just happen to be using these Torpedo bats. And they look like something out of a men's beer league softball. And if you've ever watched like the guys who seriously play men's beer league softball, they hit it like a mile with those bats. It looks like a bowling pin. What they did is they take the wood out of the handle and they put the wood on the sweet spot. So there's more wood on the sweet spot where you hit it, and they're customized to every person. So if I'm somebody, they look at 1,000 of my swings, and if I'm somebody who gets jammed a little bit lower than the label, then they're going to put the more wood there. And when I get jammed, I'm going to hit it an extra 100 feet. So to say that it's not an advantage is you're kidding yourself. Is it cheat? Is it against the rules? It's not. It's a loophole in the rule. It doesn't go by the spirit of the rule. I'll tell you that much. And then I know Yankee fans. Yeah, I know you're going to sit there and you're going to fight tooth and nail against this and for the bats. And then the Yankees don't do anything wrong. They're within the rules. They're smarter than everybody. And yeah, maybe they are. They're not smarter than everybody. The MIT guy they hired is smarter than everybody, and they're smart for hiring him. But you also got to look at the bigger picture. Is this really what you want? Is baseball? Because in another 2 months, it's not going to be just the Yankees. Once these teams start getting their own guy in and analyzing the swings and sending it off to the manufacturer and getting these bats in, everybody's going to have them. So you might have a couple weeks advantage here. But is this what you want baseball to be? Listen, if you get jammed, you're not supposed to hit it off the wall. Pitchers live by, sawing guys off inside, painting the corners. Do you want there to be 15 home runs in a weekend? You don't. I'm telling you don't. There's still something to be said about a pitcher's duel. We don't want 11 to 9 games every day. You'll get sick and tired of it. The skill of baseball will slowly erode. And it's already eroding with the launch angle, and they're already trying to hit more home runs. Can you imagine what it's going to be like if these bats and they're only going to get better? This is like the Yankees are using like the prototype. And I get it, other teams are using them, and believe me, within 3 weeks, they're all going to be using them. It's not going to be an advantage anymore. It's going to be they're all using them, and it's going to be there is going to be more home runs. Don't tell me that it doesn't matter, because these Yankees are now they are doing whatever. Like half the team is like, I got to have these bats. I want to use them. Forget about my old bats. I don't care. They want the bat. They want the Torpedo bats. And can you blame them? And of course, the pitchers hate it. You got the pitchers saying it's like what I just said about the softball league. So I think MLB has to take a serious look at this. And they have to figure out, what do they want to do? They have the power to change the rules. Look, they changed it on the sticky stuff with the pitchers just a couple of years ago. A sweeping rule right out of nowhere. You can't use it anymore. And guys got caught. Edwin Diaz got caught last year. Sat out 10 games. They have to look at it. And listen, I get it. You can't just look at one weekend and say, no, these bats are outrageous. You can't do that. You need a bigger sample size. So let them use them. I'm not saying they're breaking the rules. I'm not saying they're cheating. But these bats are definitely helping. Is the judge is saying he's not using one? I don't know if Judge is using one. Some people are saying he is. He's saying he's not. I don't know. But I know he hit 4 home runs over the weekend. And I know the Yankees hit 9 home runs in the game. And I get it. Nestor Cortez was out there, and he was just, he was terrible. They probably would have hit 4 or 5 home runs without the bats. But 9 home runs in the game, it's a little fishy. Now, let's see what happens over the next month or two. Baseball hasn't come out and made a statement because it's legal. So they haven't come out and been like, they haven't said anything yet. Everybody and their mother from every paper and every sports show and podcast everywhere in the country has asked them for a comment. Nothing. Radio silence from baseball because it's within the rules. But it's a loophole. It's not the spirit of the rule. And you got to close these loopholes sometimes. You can't just have you can't have this. It's not good for the game. And I get it, Yankee fans. You can defend it all you want. And you could say that they're not. You're right. You're right. Can't argue with you. Great move. Great move hiring this guy from MIT, smarter than everybody else, to come in and develop this bat. And it's so simple, isn't it? You kind of like, how did we not think of this? Take the wood from the handle, put it where I hit it. It's simple math. But it's not good for the game. You don't want 9 home runs. You're not supposed to hit 9 home runs in the game. And I don't know how many people use them. I think, but you could take it to the bank. They're all ordering them. They're already on order from every team. So we'll see. Now the Brewers not good. Like I said, their pitching was decimated with injuries. They weren't. The Yankees were probably going to sweep them anyway. Well, let's see how they do now. Now they get a day off. They play tomorrow. Back at it. Arizona coming, still not a great team. At the stadium, they continue the homestand. So we'll see. As far as the Mets go, like I said, don't worry. They just dropped 2 out of 3 in Houston. It's not the end of the world. Stop worrying and panicking. You kill yourself if you do this day to day with baseball. You can't go day to day with baseball. You can't be like, all right, they stink today, then they win 2 in a row, and they're back. They go in the world. You can't do it. Don't do it to yourself. I'm telling you, don't do it to yourself. We're gonna talk plenty of Mets coming up Wednesday. We got Bob Usler coming on the show. Good friend of the show. Good friend of mine. Good friend of Brett's. One of the best people you'll ever meet. Bob Usler. He'll be right here on the show Wednesday. Talking Mets. We'll see what he thinks about these bats. I'm fascinated to get his opinion on it. And listen, it's something that's all good. It's definitely stirred the pot. Yankee fans are taking it. They will die on the hill of these bats illegal, and we're doing the right thing, and we're just smarter than everybody. But how are you going to feel when everybody has them and they're hitting 6 home runs a game? It's not good for the game. And in the bigger picture, you got to look at the game. Because things could, this thing could spiral out of control. This is just the beginning. Imagine what they're going to do. Who knows what they're going to do with these bats? These MIT guys are pretty damn smart. Smarter than any of us. Even though this is so simple. Sometimes the simplest thing is just like right in front of your face. So I don't like the bats. I don't like the idea. I think they're completely an advantage if you're using them. And yeah, you could all use them. But it's going to take a little while for the teams to order them in and get them made. So Yankees, you take your couple weeks here of defending yourself and saying we're not cheating, we're just smarter. You go ahead and do that. But when it ruins the game, it's your fault. So that pretty much does it. That's going to do it for us. Don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe. Wednesday, Bob Usler. Don't forget to be around for that. Mets, Marlins, 6:40 from Miami. Peterson and Quantrill are your pitchers. See if the Mets can get back on track. Let's go down there and let's take 2 out of 3. Let's go home with a winning record. From the Brian Gunzel Studios, I'm Bob Walters. See ya.